All right, so in this video, you're going to learn about linearizing graphs and why we do it. Well, I'm going to start with why we do it. And the reason is that if you have a graph, let's say a graph like this, and you're trying to come up with an equation for it, you're going to have a really hard time knowing what slope this kind of a graph is. So I'm going to walk you through step by step how you decide to do this and how to do the worksheet. So the worksheet that you're going to be doing for linearization is called Topic 1, Worksheet 1, Graphing Practice. This is what your worksheet looks like that I've created for you. And the example that I'm going to do is right here. And you'll be able to look at my example because it'll still be attached to your document as well. So here's my example data set, and I'm going to go ahead and graph it. Now for yours, I've already graphed it. So insert a chart and voila, here is my very lovely graph. Okay. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to look at this graph and then you are going to try to decide what kind of what shape of graph it is. And in your drive, I will also have given you this cheat sheet. So over here we have your cheat sheet and there's 5 different main shapes of graphs. There's one that's straight across, there's one that's a straight line going up or down, and then there's this one that's an inverse. So as one goes up, the other one goes down. So as x gets bigger, you'll notice that y is getting smaller. Here we have as x gets or as y gets bigger, like the x is also getting bigger. And then we have this one. And so let me show you. If we look at the shape of this graph, it's either going to look like number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And if I look at this, I will notice that this is what my graph looks like. So that means that I need to graph y squared versus x. All right, well, in here, my y is going to be this p. So it's a little bit confusing because the way that Google Sheets takes the data and puts it in here, it goes x and then y. So just don't get confused that the p is here and that it's over there. So I need to do y squared. So I'm going to type in over here p squared. And then my units, because my p is squared, my units also get squared, and I have my made up units, ET, which also gets squared. And then I need to square each of these numbers. Now I can do it one of 2 ways. I can use it an equation because I am in Google Sheets, or I can just square it in my head or with a calculator. So 0 squared is 0, 1 squared, 1 times 1 is 2, or no, 1 times 1 is 1. Don't make that mistake. 2 squared is 4. 4 squared is 16. And then if I start to get to some of these bigger ones, or I want to really just show you how to do this. So if you wanted to do it, you could type equals, and I could do 8 times 8, because that's 8 squared, equals, this is 10 squared is 100. 12 squared, I could go 12 times 12, which is 144, and 15 times 15, so equals 15 times 15. I could also do it as 15 to the 2, which is also 15 squared. All right, so now I have my new column for y squared. So I'm going to just put here y squared so I remember that that's what I was doing. And then it says I need a graph that's y squared versus x. So on the other one, my x values are going to stay the same. So I'm going to come over here. These are my x values. I'm going to highlight them and copy them. And I'm just going to paste them right in that table over here. Now what I've done for you in yours is I've already made it so as soon as you put your data in your graph, a new graph is going to appear. But if you want to see how to do the graph, like for number 5 and 6, you highlight it, you go Insert, Chart. and it'll appear for you here. And let's see, I could do a scatter plot, and I'll close this and we'll take a look at what we've got. Okay. So if I look at this graph now, this graph does look like a straight line. So if I look at all of these dots together, it looks like a straight line. And if you click on this, oh, I'm thinking of a different program. I was going to show you how to put a best fit line on there. All right. So now all I need to do is find the slope of this graph. So I've been successful. I have found how to make this a straight line. And now I just need to find the slope. And so you would pick 2 points on your best fit line. Just for fun, I know that this is a perfect graph. So I can use what I know and remember that slope is equal to rise over run. And so in this case, I started at 0 and I went to 225. So that's my rise. So my slope then is equal to, oops. And I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to just use the functionality in here. Equals rise is 225. If you remember, it's 225 minus 0 because that's where I started, divided by run. Oh, wait, rise. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. And then my run, I started here. So 500 minus 500. All right, so then my slope is 0.025. All right, so what do I do with this? Well, first thing I need to do is I need to have units on this. And if you'll notice, just like I found the slope, I can find my slope's units. So the units over here are what are in parentheses. So my units are ET squared. So rise units are ET squared divided by my horizontal units, which are STs. Who knows what that is? Okay. I'm going to put this in parentheses so I remember that those are my units. Okay. So now I need to write my equation. So how you write your equation is you first think of y equals mx plus b. Y is always on your vertical axis here. Well, here my y-axis was p. Now it's p squared. So for my y-axis, I would have, instead of y, I'm going to put p squared equals my slope, which in this case I just figured out was 0.025. So and I had units. These were my units that I found for that. So every time you have a number, you have to have units. And then don't forget your x. So this whole bit right here, this is your m. That's your slope. So in this equation, m is your slope. And then x, oops. X is going to be what's on your horizontal axis. And I'm not going to use the ST. I'm just using the variable. So the variable is this capital D. And then I'm going to go plus, and then I would need to know what my y-intercept is. And so my y-intercept, I don't know what it is, but I could figure it out. In all your examples, you're going to have a positive y-intercept or a y-intercept of 0. So just for the moment, for the sake of time, I'm going to just make something up. We're going to say that it's minus 250. And I could figure out what it actually is. All right, so now I have my equation. So this is my x. I'm going to keep that black. So I have my y equals my slope times my horizontal variable is d plus b, where b is my y-intercept. And I need units on this b, so let me show you how to do that. So here my y variable has units of et squared, so that means that my y-intercept will also be et squared. Alrighty. So now all you need to do is do the exact same thing. So on here, you can go to the actual worksheet. And as I said, again, as you go through this, you're going to just type in your new data over here. And it's going to automatically graph it. So you'll notice that this is a different shape than the one that we were just doing. So you'll look at this shape. You'll come over to here to your cheat sheet. You'll pick which one of these 5 it most looks like. And then you'll do whatever it says to make it linear. And then for the next one, you'll see it's a different shape. So to me, this shape looks like this one. So then I'm going to graph y versus x squared. And then this one, you're going to pick which one it looks like. This one is not supposed to be tricky. Don't let it mess you up. This one, you should see what kind of shape that looks like. You'll pick which one and graph it accordingly. Number 5 and 6 down here, you are going to have to create your own graphs, and you will probably need to pick, do something, and it's still going to be a different kind of curve. So then you'll do something else, and it may still be curvy. These ones are tricky, and they are extra credit for a reason. Good luck with them. Hopefully it'll work a little bit better if you're using Google Sheets versus if you're doing it on graph paper. And let me know if you have any questions or problems.